March 1962, the president said that Algeria, which faces the challenges of building economic resilience and strengthening the defenses of its sovereignty in turbulent regional and international circumstances, has charted its course and made it a priority to strengthen the national economy through major structural and integrated achievements within a multifaceted, highly ambitious strategic development project. In a related context, the President of the Republic recalled that 19 March 1962 was the day on which the end of more than a century and 30 years of colonial domination was declared. A domination that epitomized the image of unjust settler colonialism, devoid of human values, steeped in slaughter, destruction, and plunder, embodying the ugliest forms of aggression and brutality, yet trembling and shaken before the power of truth and the laws of the universe which, throughout history, have triumphed of those who seek the freedom with which God has endowed humanity. More on the message with Masoud Shafi.
The president recalled that the nation celebrates on the 19th of March Victory Day, which marked the end of more than 130 years of colonial domination, a period that displayed the injustice of settler colonialism, devoid of human values, full of killing, destruction, and looting, yet ultimately trembling before the power of justice and the laws of the universe that historically favored those who seek the freedom God instilled in humanity. The president of the Republic highlighted that God Almighty granted the Algerian people victory through a glorious, blessed revolution whose spark never faded, a sacred revolution led by heroes who chose either a free and dignified life or death under the banner of martyrdom, ensuring that Algeria would live. He stressed that this revolution, embraced by a people deeply rooted in their land and proud of their identity, spanned from November 1954 to its culmination, marked by rivers of blood, destruction, and systematic plundering, yet the people carried the sacred trust and continued the path guided by the martyr's message. The President of the Republic expressed gratitude to God for the blessing granted through loyalty to Algeria's sacrifices, noting the nation's efforts to strengthen its economic resilience and sovereignty amid regional and international instability. He highlighted Algeria's focus on building national capacities through strategic, integrated achievements carried out by united national efforts serving the people. On the 64th Victory Day, the President recalled the righteous martyrs and renewed the nation's pledge of loyalty to their mission, affirming pride in a free and noble Algeria.
On the same occasion, the President of the Council of the Nation, Mr. Azouz Nasri, has emphasized that Algeria will remain victorious, steadfast in the resolve of its leadership and the will of its people, moving forward with determination towards a prosperous future. For his part, the President of the National People's Assembly, Ibrahim Boughali, stated that the commemoration of the 64th anniversary of Victory Day honors the indomitable spirit of Algeria and the martyrs who sacrificed their lives for the country. Meanwhile, the Minister of Veterans or Mujahideen Abdelmalek Tashrifte has presided in Algiers over the ceremony marking the 64th anniversary of Victory Day under the slogan Eternal Glories and Renewed Victories. On this occasion, the ceremony was attended by members of the two houses of parliament, elected representatives, civil, military, and judicial officials, as well as female and male war veterans and representatives of the revolutionary family organizations. In his speech, Mr. Tashrifte stated that the generation of independence is determined to build a strong and victorious Algeria in honor of the sacrifices of the noble martyrs and the Mujahideen. He noted that Algeria has been and will remain strong, commanding respect and standing tall with its lofty values and noble principles. The 19th of March is also a date when Radio Algeria International celebrates 19 years of existence, symbolizing another image of triumph and victory for Algeria. Broadcasting in 4 languages, namely Arabic, French, English, and Spanish, round the clock, Radio Algeria International spreads Algeria's voice in the whole world with the latest news both locally and internationally, as well as numerous specialized programs and shows ranging from politics to economy to sports and other aspects. So happy birthday to all our colleagues from Radio Algeria International. The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has received a phone call from his brother, His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq of Oman, who congratulated him on the occasion of Eid al-Fitr festival. A statement from the presidency indicated that, for his part, President Tebboune thanked the Sultan of Oman and congratulated him on the occasion of Eid al-Fitr, praying to Allah Almighty that peace and security may prevail in the Sultanate and among the brotherly Omani people. As you followed in our top stories, Algeria strongly condemned the Zionist aggression against Lebanon, which has resulted in heavy loss of life and unimaginable material damage. The toll of the Zionist attacks has risen to 968 deaths. The details with Mohammed Khatil.
According to a statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Israeli aggression against Lebanon is escalating continuously, resulting in heavy losses of life and inconceivable material damage, the statement read. It added that Algeria condemned these unacceptable attacks and expressed its full solidarity with Lebanon, its leaders and its people, while reaffirming its unwavering commitment to Lebanon's sovereignty, unity and territorial integrity. It also said that in the face of this tragic situation, the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, remained in constant contact with his Lebanese counterpart, Mr. Joseph Aoun. He has also instructed the Minister of State in charge of Foreign Affairs, the National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Mr. Ahmed Attaf, to maintain close coordination with his Lebanese counterpart, Mr. Youssef Raji. Meanwhile, the toll of Zionist attacks against Lebanon has risen to 968 martyrs and 2,432 injured since March 2nd. The Lebanese Ministry of Health announced in its daily report published by the Emergency Health Operations Center that the previous toll of the attacks was set at 912 martyrs and 2,221 injured. This came as the Zionist occupation army continued on Thursday its air and artillery bombardments on various areas of Lebanon. Lebanese Interior Minister Ahmed al-Hajjar condemned the ongoing Zionist attacks against Lebanon, particularly following the martyrdom on Wednesday of a member of the civil defense from the Southern Regional Center of Sidon. He added that these aggressions constitute a blatant violation of international humanitarian law, which requires ensuring the protection of humanitarian workers and civil defense personnel who devote their efforts to saving lives and helping civilians under the most difficult conditions. For her part, the official spokesperson for the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon, UNIFIL, Candice Ardiel, had earlier indicated that the situation in southern Lebanon was difficult and tense.
You're still listening to Radio Algeria International. This is the English service. The military escalation in the Middle East and the Gulf region is intensifying unabated on the 20th day of the conflict that began on February 28, with the expansion of the areas of military confrontation and worsening consequences, including increasing human and material losses. Mohammed Khatil again.
Figures released by governments and media outlets reported dozens of deaths in some conflict zones, which add to the human toll recorded so far. At the same time, the repercussions of the escalation continue to affect maritime transport, particularly in the Strait of Hormuz, a vital passage for most oil tankers supplying more than 20% of global crude demand. As a result of the situation, several countries heavily affected by delays in hydrocarbon deliveries have decided to revise the distribution of these energy resources, asking, among other measures, electric vehicle owners to unplug their cars at night to avoid consumption peaks. On the economic front, oil prices, which had surged sharply since the beginning of the conflict, saw a slight decline on Wednesday following the partial resumption of Iraqi crude exports and the release of 400 million barrels from the strategic reserves of countries belonging to the International Energy Agency. On the humanitarian front, according to the United Nations, the repercussions of the conflict in the Middle East and the Gulf countries could seriously threaten the lives of millions of people worldwide in the coming weeks. According to the World Food Programme, tens of millions of additional people could face acute hunger if the conflict in the Middle East continues until next June, raising fears of the most severe disruption of humanitarian aid.
In the same context, international estimates indicate that the number of aid trucks entering the Gaza Strip has decreased by approximately 80% since the start of the Israeli-American war on Iran. The weekly average dropped from about 4,200 trucks before the war to 590 in the first week, then 1,137 in the second week, while this week, as of Tuesday evening, the number did not exceed 400 trucks. Conversely, the sharp decline in aid flow has impacted living conditions, with a significant increase in food prices and shortages of basic goods within the strip. The United Nations has warned that around 40 million people in Sudan are at risk from unexploded ordnance, including civilians and humanitarian workers, stressing that children are most at risk as they handle dangerous objects without realizing it. During a video press briefing given from Khartoum to journalists in New York, the head of the United Nations Mine Action Program in Sudan, Sadiq Rashid, said the following.
We estimate that around 14 million people are at risk from explosive hazards. This includes civilians, returnees, and humanitarian workers. Who is at greatest risk? Sudan's children, who often play with items and are safe in their community without realizing their risks. Explosive ordnance is also now one of the most significant threats to safe humanitarian access. It directly affects the ability of aid workers to move, to deliver assistance, and to operate safely. Without addressing explosive hazards, people cannot safely return, services cannot be restored, and reconstruction cannot begin. Sudan was already dealing with legacy contamination from decades of conflict. The current war is adding a new and complex layer of contamination across densely populated areas.
That was the head of the United Nations Mine Action Program in Sudan, Sadiq Rashida. Next is a special program on the occasion of today's commemoration of Victory Day.
The celebration of the anniversary of Victory Day, proclaimed the day after the signing of the Lyon agreements, marked the end of a long war of liberation and a courageous and heroic fight by Algerians against the brutal French colonialism. Dedicated to be the national holiday of victory in Algeria, March 19, 1962, marked the end of a long-running war of liberation won by force of arms and the determination of millions of freedom-seeking Algerians who suffered for more than a century from the horrors of the brutal colonial yoke, with the heavy toll made of countless martyrs, thousands of widows and orphans, hundreds of thousands of prisoners, detainees and disabled, as well as the destruction of thousands of villages and hamlets across the national territory. The official announcement of the ceasefire, concluded on March 18th in Evian, was thus received with immense and immeasurable joy by the Mujahideen of the Maquis of the National Liberation Army and by the entire Algerian people who had just regained their freedom and sovereignty. Before the initialing of the Evian Agreement signed on March 18, 1962, which enshrined the country's hard-won independence, the Algerian delegation had rejected throughout these negotiations the proposals put forth by France mortgaging national sovereignty and independence. The Evian negotiations, which began on the 20th of May 1961 and which were suspended several times, were marked by the obstinacy of the French side, which put forward three proposals rejected by the Algerian delegation. These proposals concern the maintaining of the Algerian Sahara and the naval base on Mers el-Kebir in western Iran province under French domination and the question of the million of French settlers living in Algeria. But in the face of the French proposal, the Algerian delegation had stuck to its position on the Sahara, which it was determined to defend at all costs before agreeing with the French delegation to maintain French investment in the Sahara for a period of 3 years, particularly after the discovery of oil there. With regard to the status of the French settlers in Algeria after independence, both sides agreed or reached an agreement granting a period of 3 years to the French to choose Algerian nationality or to retain their French nationality and be treated in accordance with the laws governing foreigners here in Algeria. With regard to the Mars al-Kibir naval base located in Ran province in western Algeria, the proposal submitted by the French side that France would operate the base for 99 years. As the Algerian delegation's rejection of this proposal was categorical, it was agreed to grant a 15-year concession to France. In the euphoria of independence, the country was called upon to embark on a long historical process, that of fighting for the construction of the country, which will draw all its essence from the spirit that marks the process of recovering national sovereignty in order to remove the country from foreign occupation. In line with this logic, and on the occasion of the anniversary of Victory Day, the Algerians ought to be like their fathers and ancestors, the architects of events and successes, the builders of a potent and solid Algeria in terms of sustainable economy and unfading security. It should be stressed at the same time that it was the day when our valiant people sounded the death knell for a long colonial nightmarish period, standing proudly and with dignity at the end of the glorious November 1954 Liberation War, whose valiant craftsmen were the children of this people. A generation armed with an unwavering will and faith, and who paid a heavy price for the wrenching of Algeria's freedom and independence, with the sacrifices of millions of glorious martyrs, invalids, widows, and orphans, notwithstanding the widespread destruction and the untold tragedies that have affected all families throughout the country during the harsh colonial yoke. If March 19, 1962, the date of the ceasefire, was snatched away thanks to the sacrifices of the Shuhada or martyrs and Mujahideen, it was also the result of bitter negotiations conducted by the Algerian delegation of struggling Algeria, which demonstrated great intelligence and competence in negotiating with the occupier. Driven by loyalty and fidelity to the country, the Algerian delegation was able, despite the enemy's references and resources, to snatch our people's right to freedom and sovereignty over all its entire territory. Through this lofty epic of unflagging struggle and well-conducted negotiations, the Algerian people have given, through their glorious revolution, an admirable image of the militant journey that makes us proud today and will make us proud tomorrow.
You're still listening to Radio Algeria International. The zinc and lead mining project located between Amizur and Tel Hamza in the province of Bijaya, launched recently by Prime Minister Seyfi Ghraib on behalf of the President of the Republic Abdelmajid Tebboune, marks an important step in developing Algeria's mining industry. To find out more about the Tel Hamza Wad Amizur project, let's follow this interview with our colleague Mohammed Khatel.
The preparatory works of the Tel Hamza Wad Amizur zinc and lead mine project located in the province of Bijaya were officially launched this week by Prime Minister Seyfi Ghraib, entrusted by the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune. The inauguration ceremony was attended by several ministers and high-ranking government officials, including the State Minister, Minister of Hydrocarbons and Mines, Mohammed Arqab, the Minister of the Interior, Local Authorities and Transport, Said Sayoud, the Minister of Finance, Abdelkarim Bouzrad, the Minister of Energy and Renewable Energies, Murad Ajjal, the Minister of Industry, Yahya Bashir, and the Minister of Public Works and Basic Infrastructure, Abdelkader Jillawi, in addition to the Secretary of State to the Minister of Hydrocarbons and Mines in charge of mines, Ms. Karima Bakir Tafer. To shed more light on this structuring project and the advantages it will bring not only to the region but to the country as a whole, we have the honor to receive the CEO of the joint venture in charge of managing the project, namely Bijaya Zinc and Lead, or BZL, Ms. Mariam Twati. Ms. Twati, thank you for accepting our invitation and welcome on the waves of Radio Algeria International.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, International Radio.
Thank you so much. First of all, could you please give us an overview of the Tel Hamza Wad Amizor project? Why is it considered strategic for the national mining sector?
Yes. So the Tel Hamza Wad Amizor project is one of the most significant mining projects in the country, and it's considered as a strategic as it contributes to the diversification of the national economy and restores Algeria's position in the global zinc and lead market.
Very good. Who are the main partners and stakeholders involved in this important project?
Yeah. Sorry. So the project is carried out through a JV, a joint venture, bringing together the national partners ENOF and ORGN, and also the international Australian partner Terramin Australia, combining a strong local expertise with an international know-how.
Mm-hmm. And what are the main characteristics of this mine? I mean, in terms of production capacity, lifespan, and technology transfer.
Yes. So the mine is designed to process around 2 million of tons of ore per year, with an expected annual production of approximately 170,000 of tons of zinc and 30,000 of tons of lead. So the project relies on the modern mining technique, including the cut and fill method, which ensures a high level of safety, while minimizing environmental impact, and it's also supports technology transfer and the development of local expertise.
Mm-hmm. Ms. Wati, you have just mentioned that the mine is expected to produce 170,000 tons of zinc and 30,000 tons of lead annually. Are these figures final, or is there a chance to increase these quantities throughout the life of mine and even beyond?
Yes. So these production figures are based on confirmed reserves and detailed feasibility studies. However, there remains potential for optimization. Depending on future exploration results and certainly operational improvement over the life of the mine.
Mm-hmm. Well understood. And what are the expected economic and social benefits of this project, both at the local and national level? I mean, at the level of Bijaya and also at the entire national level.
Yes. The project will generate substantial economic benefits at both the local and national level. So it will support regional development, encourage local subcontracting, and boost export. Also, it will contribute to the public revenue while also improving infrastructures in the region.
Mm-hmm. And
sorry, just one.
Go ahead.
More things. Sorry, just one more thing. An important thing. So, in addition to the partners have agreed on the construction of a processing plant in the wilaya of Bijaya to transform concentrate into metal ingot. As you know, this will create a significant added value locally and reinforce the industrial fabric.
Yeah, you mean instead of exporting the raw material, so it's going to be processed and transformed into ingots?
Absolutely, definitively, yes. It will generate additional employment opportunity also and contribute to the development of complete mining value chain in Algeria.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you anticipated my following question, which is the number of direct and indirect jobs in the project which are expected to be created. So could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, sure. The project is expected to create around 700 direct jobs and approximately 3,000 indirect jobs, which will significantly contribute the socio-economic development of the region.
Excellent, very good. Ms. Dweti, reports show that Terramin Australia, the shareholder that prepared the feasibility study, is internationally known for its strict compliance with the environmental and safety requirements in the mining industry. Could you please explain to our audience how these requirements have been respected in the Tala Hamza or with regard the Tala Hamza Wad Amizor mine?
Yes, so the environmental protection is a key priority for BZL company. So for us, so the use of the cut and fill mining method, for example, helps to limit the surface impact and ensures better ground stability. In addition, the project fully complies with the international environmental and safety standards with measures in place for water management, waste treatment, and continuous environmental monitoring.
Mm-hmm. And when exactly will the mine become fully operational?
The construction phase of the project is expected to take place between this year, so 2026, and 2028. So with the first production expected shortly, as operation approximately ramp up.
Mm-hmm. So to conclude, Ms. Twati, what message would you like to send to the people of Bijaya and the people of Algeria as a whole regarding this project?
So my message to the people of Bijaya and our country is one of confidence and commitment, because this project is designed to deliver sustainable development, create opportunities, and respect the environment. So we are fully committed to operating responsibly and transparently for the benefits of the region and for the country.
This brings us to the end of the special program devoted to the Tala Hamza Wad Amizor zinc and lead mine project located in the province of Bijaya. Thank you so much, Ms. Twati, for accepting our invitation and for being with us. I recall once again that you are the CEO of the managing company